I'm going. This is a scene that I made out of the architecture kit plus some additional props and things that I threw together. Um, in this particular space, there are some seats in it. There are different rooms to go to, and then I also like this because there's this cliff background. Let me turn off the grid. And in the cliff background, there's an ocean out there using the water element, and so there's a lot of sort of interesting views. This kind of hangs over the edge. You may wonder why like there's no roof on this. It's because you'll never see it unless you put a waypoint out here or something. Just for efficiency, it's meant to be seen from inside the house. But uh, let's start out. Like, where would I put a waypoint or a spawn point? I'm going to go to what I think of as the entrance of this house, which is this little foyer here. And I'm going to go ahead, grab a waypoint, and place it kind of in the doorway here. Now this, obviously, if I'm thinking this is where I want to spawn, then I need to mark spawn point on it. Um, and you can come up with your own way of labeling these if you want, if it's helpful to you. Like, you may want to leave it called waypoint, but then add like a dash after it and call it like
Hmm.
spawn one or something. Uh, Maybe I want to allow multiple people. This is, as we, Dom mentioned before, wisely. It's good to make sure you have a few spawn points. And if you're trying
Yeah,
to
if you're making them
direct,
occupiable. If you don't make them occupiable, and you don't mind people being stacked up on top of each other a little bit, then you can have a few. But it's
it's generally good
it's good
practice to
it's good to
have,
have a few anyway. Just
and
to.
even if they're next to each other like
Mhm.
this. I like to do it just so that I don't end up with like, I'm spawning. Like, a lot of times people spawn in, especially newer people, and they don't move.
Right, and they'll start talking
And they're just
immediately in your
standing
head, and
there, and you're like,
yeah.
why did I show up inside this, Shrek head
Yeah, I
or
mean,
whatever?
this is like a space design thing too. Like, you also want to you can use the direction you're pointing them to kind of direct them towards where you want them to go, where people are going to be congregating.
Is
Um,
Yeah, level design 101 here, right?
mhm.
Maybe you're designing a space where it's not about entering from one doorway, but it's about. I think about this a lot when I'm designing spaces. If it's a very social space, that isn't a specific event like a
Mhm.
movie or a classroom or something. Maybe it's just like a house like this. It could be cool to spawn people in more disparate locations around the house, and then they find
Mhm.
each other by voice.
Mhm.
They maybe see each other through some doorways, or they're you know been like, oh, have you seen upstairs? It's really cool.
Yeah, this
It's
depends a lot on the kind of environment you're trying to to create. And like you said, it could be where you have different you spawn people in different spots of it so that they can they're kind of automatically exploring, and then they'll be like, oh, there was this cool thing over there. Did you see it? And
hmm
so.
I like thinking about that a lot. And yeah, I mean, if you're trying to make a more directed thing like I'm doing right here, maybe it's more about like, I really want you to come in here first. I want you to see that there's an outside. I want you to go that way. If you follow, video game like level design kind of theory, right? It's like, get them to move toward the light, or get them
Mhm.
to see the if there's an animated thing in your scene, maybe they're more likely to go toward that first, or some kind of a sign. Text always draws attention. And sometimes in Spoke, I use our sort of navigation mode where I hold the right mouse button. And when you do this, you can fly around like you would if you were in game using WASD. In this case, we don't limit you to the ground. You can fly, around
Mhm.
when you do this. But I kind of like putting myself in the shoes of
The
the
spawn
person who
points and
spawned
kind of,
in,
yeah.
and be like, oh, this is kind of cool. Maybe I want them pointing that way because I want them to go up the stairs first, or I want them to
Mhm.
look in here. That sort of stuff. So anyway, that's not about waypoints, but so these are all marked as spawn point. And another pro tip is you may want to set one of these up first before you duplicate it, so that you don't have to set all the flags on
I
everything.
think you might be able to multi-edit them also. I think if you
I think
select
you
multiple,
can.
you might be able to.
Let's see if I turn those off. I think it. Yeah, you're right. You can
Yeah.
multi-edit. Big shout out to Robert, one of our engineers who made that work.
That's a
So
really nice feature.
yeah, good, good. I'm glad you remember that. Okay, so they're all spawn points, and I'm just going to leave them like that. I don't really care if people pile up on top of each other, but I have a few of them there, and that should be enough. Um, but if we were going to say make ones for like these chairs here, maybe we want people to be able to click on the little icon and feel like they're sitting in one of these chairs. Well, we can do that also with waypoints. And so in this case, I'm going to make a waypoint. I'm going to put it, you'll notice it's snapping to all this geometry. Sometimes I'll just put it on the floor in front as a starting point, and then, kind of rotate it the way I want, and uh, use the regular move tool so that I can just put it where I want, like that. Now, this would make it feel as though I was standing kind of in front of the chair or above the chair. And what I actually want is to think about where my head would be. Again, the arrow is helpful. Where's my head going to be when I'm sitting? And so um, this little robot's sort of helpful, even though he doesn't have arms. I like to think about where are your shoulders when you're sitting down. Like if my arms were on the arms of these chairs, like what would be
Hmm.
comfortable. So you may pull it
And
down
this
a
could be
little
like a
bit.
little bit weird, like the avatar might be clipping into the chair a little bit or whatever. But like it's
It's more
it's
about what it feels
more
like.
about what the yeah exactly what the viewpoint is.
Sometimes I pull it back a bit so that I'm like not on the edge of my seat,
And it's
literally.
possible eventually we'll do things like, okay, when you click on this waypoint, play this animation, this sitting animation, or something like that.
Totally.
That's totally in the realm of things we could do pretty easily.
In this case, before I clone it, I'm gonna not have it be a spawn point because I don't want people starting there. I will say it
Hmm.
can be occupied, so nobody else can sit on you while you're sitting there. It'll be clickable. That's how we're gonna get into it. And when I'm sitting, I want to disable motion, so I can't, uh, you know, WASD around like this.
Hmm.
But I will leave teleporting on, so I will not check disable teleporting. I want you to be able to just teleport onto the
Right.
ground
I mean, if
without.
you had also disabled teleporting there and didn't have another waypoint you can click on, you'd be stuck in the chair. There'd be no other way to get out. So it's important to think about that when you're
Yeah, the only thing you could
configuring this
do is
stuff.
like refresh the room, right?
Right. Right.
Rejoin. Um, so that's pretty good. I like where that is. I'm going to duplicate it and just move it over, say, to this chair. Sometimes I gotta change my angle so I can see a little bit better. About there was pretty good, and then I'll rotate it. I'm using Q and E to rotate, and you can set your snap degrees if you want. If you want more fine grain, oops, I moved the whole room. That's not what I wanted.
Mm.
Um, you know, maybe you want to be facing this other chair a little bit, or think about what the view is. That might be the best seat in the house, actually.
Yeah, and they're not locked into that view or anything like that. They can rotate after, but
Yeah, that's actually a really good thing to mention. I meant to say earlier when we say disable motion, it does not disable like head motion or
mhm.
mouse rotate motion. So
Yep.
you're not stuck in that sense. I don't want all this snapping on. Let's leave that off. I'm going to put a third seat here, only moving on the X and Z axis, and then I'm going to rotate myself around that way. So there you have it. These are definitely not perfect by any means, but I think it's a good start
Hmm.
for 3 seats. Let's talk about another scenario. Maybe in here is going to be a viewing room for like watching a video on the wall or something. Um, and we want to think about like ways of organizing people. Now, I don't actually have any chairs in here, but we could use some waypoints to help people organize themselves a little better. Like maybe I want to have them face this stage and the wall, and so I'm going to place them so that they're uh, standing here. Here's the kind of thing where maybe if you are kind of pretending that they're seats, you could put like the front row a little lower and the next row a
Hmm.
little higher and the back row even higher, something like that. I'm just going to leave them all on the ground like this, but I will say that you can click them, they can be occupied. Um, Maybe it doesn't disable your motion when you get into it.
Yeah. So then you can like click on it and then kind of walk away, and that's fine. That'll
Yeah,
unoccupy it.
and I want to make sure you snap to the floor. And I'll also I will leave off maintain initial orientation. Otherwise, it would get you there, but you'd still be like if you came in from here, you'd
Facing the wrong
you'd
way.
still
Yeah.
be facing the wrong way. So that I like that, and I'm going to duplicate it a few times. Of course, each one I duplicate, I'm going to just tap Q and E to rotate them a little bit, to face more toward the center, something like that. So you could do this kind of thing to line people up. Uh, you could also make one on the stage, like maybe if it's the kind of event where you're going to have people like come up and talk and participate, or maybe take turns doing like a stand up about their work they're
Open
doing
mic
or
or yeah.
something. Yeah, you could put one up here. I used the G key to move that so that I didn't have to move it up. If you hit G, it'll snap, as you move around to the geometry. So um, G is like grab kind of. So maybe I put one up here. So maybe there'll be a microphone here, and that'll put you in that spot. And I'm going to name this one. I'm going to call this Waypoint stage or something. I did not name my other ones except for the spawn ones, but that's
And you
okay.
obviously don't need to have the name Waypoint in there. They can be named whatever you want.
Right. Uh, let's make it a little bit fun. Whoever steps up on the stage will also be a little bit bigger than everybody else. Get people's attention. And in this case, maybe I do want it a little lower. So you're, you have the floor. This one I will say can be occupied. It's clickable. Um, Same deal, but not snap to floor because I did
We can
slide it.
disable teleporting too, so that you have to click on another waypoint to get off the stage, so that you
Let's try that.
shrink back down.
Yeah, and then the very last one I'll do. I actually I've been doing this a lot in scenes lately just because it's kind of fun. Is I'm gonna put a waypoint way out off the balcony here, and I'm gonna turn it around so it's facing the model, and I'm gonna make this one super big, like 20 times a normal size person. And this will give the sense that you're a giant and you're looking down at the model um, and everything that's going on there. Um, the clickable part of the this is up here, like near the head, so that's where you'll see it floating. In fact, most people probably won't notice it when it's there, but I'll say that it is can be occupied. It's clickable. Disables your motion. Does not disable. Disable teleporting because I don't want you to stay that size. I want you to
Snap back to one of the
snap
chairs,
back
basically.
to the ground or the chairs or something. And maybe just for good measure, I will put one more here at the balcony edge, so that
That'll be
that's
just kind of the teleport back one, yeah.
yeah, it's an easy one to get to.
And
And
that one, it doesn't have to be occupiable or anything. That one you can just
I'll
leave
tell
kind
you
of.
what, let's make this one clickable, and we'll say maintain your orientation. So
Yeah, yeah,
if you
because that would
click
be a
on it
nice one
from
for this.
here, you'll still be
You'll
facing
still be
this way.
facing that direction,
And
exactly.
if you click it from anywhere else, you'll just arrive at it from
Hmm.
wherever you are facing. Um, that's kind of cool. Let me lower this a little bit more, just so your head is a little lower, so you'll be seeing it from up here. I feel pretty good about that. I think that'll work. Um,
Yep.
and I will save my scene, and I will publish it. Should be pretty easy. And then Dom, if you want,
And pop in, yeah.
yeah, you can pop in with me. So I'm gonna hit publish to hubs. It's called Waypoints. That's fine. And I'm just gonna hit save and publish. It does not need to be remixable or anything like that. And I'm gonna hit publish. It's uploading. Should be pretty quick. All done. And now I can click view your scene. Now, um, I'm gonna send the link to Dom in a little chat window. Let me go
You
to
just
here.
you just open the share dialog, and then I'll just copy the link from
That's true.
there.
Well, I just sent it to you anyway.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't want people jumping in. uh,
They, they could probably see the URL bar if they want to jump in.
I think I have it
Oh,
cropped,
you have it.
so
Oh,
you
you have
can't
it
see
cropped.
it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Cool.
I know you guys out there, bomb my hub session. That's okay. It would actually be kind of interesting. Let people in. I'm gonna mute my mic though, so I don't get any echo. There I go. I spawned in, right where I thought I would.
Oh, you sent me a link to the scene, not the room.
That was a big mistake. Sorry about that. Let me send you. Oh, that's not what I wanted to show you. Here we go. Wait. Okay. Wait, let's go back here. Sorry about that. Okay, that's the actual link. I want to see when you spawn in where you spawn because you're not going to spawn on me. Will you be to my left or my right? I think I'm on like the third one here. I don't know. It says Dom joined the lobby. Now, where are you? Where are you?
Let's see. Let me mute myself as well. All right, I spawned
Right
in. Oh,
there.
there we
There's
are.
Dom. And it looks like
Hello.
you.
Yes.
So if you want to see clickable spawn points or waypoints, you won't see these. If I hold my space bar, they don't show up. But any that are, like the stage one over here, or the ones in this room, I can roll over and click on. So, like for example, if I click on one of these guys, it'll take me right to that spot where I'm looking at the stage. And if you were to join me, oh, there's Dom up
I
on the
can
stage, and
teleport onto the
he's a
stage, and
little
I'm a
bit
little bit
bigger.
bigger.
And if I try to, I can't. I don't think. Nope, won't let
Yep.
me because you've occupied it.
Right, but then I can jump back off the stage, and then you'll be able to.
And now I can be the big, whatever I am. I'm like a giant. I'm the big thick crocodile that I was before. So, but like we're still allowed to move out of these points. This one in the middle here, like we said, if I click that, um, I stayed the direction I was facing. So if I came at it from over here, I would keep facing that direction. So that's like a nice shortcut. Like maybe you can imagine a nature walk or something where you had waypoints all along a cliff and you just want to like quickly get to the end or like snap
Yep,
through them all. Dom, you want to do the honors and be the big giant one in the
I
sky?
will.
Oh yeah. Okay, there you are. If you had your a VR headset on, I would get to see your giant hands.
Yeah. But
Like,
it's really cool to see like the little because everything looks smaller to me too because the camera's scaled up, and so it looks pretty cool. And then I can teleport back down to that waypoint
let
over
me do
here,
it.
and then
Let me
it'll
do it so
scale
I
me
can look
back.
down at you. Here I go. Whoa, I'm like big. Now,
Here.
from my perspective, it doesn't necessarily look um, like I'm bigger because I don't have convergence of two eyes like I'm in a headset. But
Hmm.
if you did, like in a VR headset, this is actually really effective to feeling like you're looking
Yeah, it's
down at
pretty
a
cool.
little dollhouse. But to get back, I could click on any of these, and it will bring my scale back. Oh, there's Dom in a seat. There you go. Let me take this seat over here. So now we're sitting here. I'm trying to move, and I can't. I'm stuck in the seat unless I want to switch seats, or I want to right click and teleport out. And now
Yep.
I'm back to normal. So there's a lot you can do with that, just with those few options. If you think the way I do it is I just go down the list
Right, and
of the check
decide, do I
boxes.
want each of these things? Yeah.
What would happen if I could move? Oh, I wouldn't want to do that. Right, like for example, on the the big one in the sky, I don't really want people flying around in giant mode.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
um,
like I said, with scale, especially, like you want to think about, okay, how do they get out of this in a way that forces them to scale back down? Um,
yeah,
and
and
that's
it
a thing we could do automatically. We could just like scale you back out when you leave a waypoint. But that you might want to be able to do that. You might want to be able to click on a thing and then explore a space as a smaller thing. You have
mhm.
a mushroom you click on or something that,
You could make a
that
whole
Alice in
world
Wonderland.
underneath the floor of your world
Hmm.
where where
Yep.
the mice live or something. But that's pretty much all the settings you'll need. I'm curious if anybody has other ideas. Maybe there are things we're not thinking of, but so far, these settings that we have served the purpose for the most part.
Hmm.